So, it's finally gone and happened. Manchester City have signed Jack Grealish in a British record transfer fee of £100 million. He's gone and signed a 5-year deal at Manchester City, having passed his medical, and the deal is done. Fabrizio Romano is giving it the here we go. Sky Sports have confirmed it. It's actually gone and happened. And Manchester City have responded to United signing Sancho and Varane by signing Aston Villa's captain Jack Grealish. Now I'd love to sit here and say overrated. What's he got his calves out for? No shin pad wearing. Look at his stupid hair. He dives all the time. What a waste of money. A crap deal. He's not even going to get in your team. What are you doing? I'd love to sit here and say that, but I can't lie. It's an absolutely fantastic signing for Manchester City, and I'm proper gutted, man. I'm proper gutted. If certain things happened a year or so ago, around the time when he signed his last Aston Villa deal, he probably could have signed for Manchester United. United were looking at him as a possible replacement for Paul Pogba. I said it at the time. If Paul Pogba leaves, the only man I want coming in is Jack Grealish. In fact, even if Paul Pogba didn't leave, I wanted Man United to sign Jack Grealish. You've heard me talking on the kickoff. You've heard me talking on Stretford Paddock. You've heard me talking on here about how much of a quality player I think he is. I think he's one of the top 10 players in the Premier League. And I think he's worth every single penny of that £100 million. Now, you could argue Manchester City need a striker more, which I think is a fair point. But they're going to be back in the market for Harry Kane. And if they get him, it's a formidable pair of signings that rivals United's signings of Varane and Jadon Sancho. And it shows, and we'll talk about it in a little bit, how much Manchester United need to respond to this now. Because we've made a great start to the transfer window, but we need to keep going in terms of the league title race and improving our squad. But just looking at this signing, Jack Grealish to Manchester City, it's the move that he's been waiting for a while, to be fair. I think he's done really well for Aston Villa. Stuck there when maybe a few other players would have left. I know there was rumours of him joining Tottenham at one point, and then obviously he probably would have joined United had we made a bid for him at that point. I think it was a year or so ago. Didn't happen. He stayed at Aston Villa, made him a Premier League club again, made him competitive again, helped them be an attractive prospect as well. Obviously you've got their owners there who are spending sums of money regardless of what happens with Jack Grealish. But they're making good investments and they've become a pretty decent Premier League side. Jack Grealish has played a massive part in that. And when you look at what Harry Kane's doing over at Spurs, one fuck all for him. You know, you can say he's scored loads of goals, this, that and the other. But in the grand scheme of things, he hasn't done as much as Jack Grealish has done for Aston Villa as for Spurs. And is there not training, not doing these things, being disrespectful, this, that and the other. And I think you have to commend Jack Grealish for keeping his head down and working hard. As you said, there's probably been a number of times when he could have left. The moves didn't happen, but he didn't let that affect his football. And he's become one of the best talents in the Premier League because of it. And Manchester City now, like if you look at what Pep can, I hate to say, if you look what Pep did with Jack Grealish, Raheem Sterling, who I think is a decent player, is a very good player, in fact more than decent, but he doesn't have half the ability of Jack Grealish. You look at some of the other players in that team, they don't have half the ability of Jack Grealish. And you just think him being with that team, being around that talent, you know, is going to be elevated now. You could argue, is it going to be good for him being in and out of the team? Well, he's had a few injuries over the last couple of years, so maybe that will manage him correctly. Now, no player is going to want to be left out of big games and those kind of things. And Jack Grealish is a player who, like we saw in the summer, shouldn't be on the bench. He should be in the team. He should be in the team, and I think obviously there'll be criticism when he's not in the team. But they've got a great squad there, and I said it before, I think he's better than Foden. I even got ridiculed for saying I think he's better than De Bruyne. And I know De Bruyne is one of his favourite players, and he probably wouldn't admit it himself. And a lot of people wouldn't agree with me, but I genuinely think he is, and we're probably going to see that now, which I hate. As much as I would love for him to flop. I'd love for him to flop. In fact, I wouldn't. Oh, man. why have City signed him, man? Out of all the players, he goes to them wankers. Fuck's sake. Hopefully, they don't get a striker, though, and they're still missing that big part of the team. and they are affected. But if they get Kane as well, I mean, even without getting Kane, United need to respond. And there's been talk today that we won't be signing any midfielders because Pogba's not leaving, which is great news for us. I think, you know, and I talk about how much I want Jack Grealish, or I wanted Jack Grealish. When you look in the grand scheme of things, you know, Manchester United are going to prioritise Marcus Rashford on the left-hand side of things. You got Paul Pogba and Bruno Fernandes who play in those 8 positions. Like, you know, I wouldn't swap either of them for anybody in the world, really. So, you know, you got to be sensible and say United probably couldn't fit him into the starting lineup, or, you know, as much. I'd play him, but you know what I mean? Like, United would look at it and think, we can't fit him into the starting lineup. So it makes sense. We needed a Sancho more. I think Sancho is a great signing for £73 million. Varane's a great signing for £34 million. But look at City now, improving their team. United need to continue that, because with Sancho and Varane, we closed the gap a little bit, but they're just boom. And we need to go again and get that midfielder, because if these reports are correct, then that's not right. I mean, you look at around in the market, Camavinga's believed to be available for a decent price. Saul Niguez is believed to be available for a decent price. I know Declan Rice would be a ridiculous price, but there's players out there who are available at reasonable prices. Ruben Neves being another one of them. So United need to respond, and we need to get a player in that midfield position. If we're looking at it and thinking, oh, well, Pogba and Lingard, well, sell Matic then. Be ruthless. And I know that's probably a bit unfair. I know that's, like, you know, he's probably well thought of amongst the squad, and you see how everyone is with him. But United's team's got to get better ultimately. And if you're looking at it and thinking, well, you know, Lingard and Pogba aren't leaving, and I'm great, I'm delighted with that. I think they're massive players in the squad. Obviously, Pogba in the first 11. I think Jesse can try and challenge Bruno for his position. Obviously, Bruno's not going to get displaced, but being an alternative, being someone that can come off the bench, play on the left, play on the right, play through the middle, it's a great option to have in anyone's squad. But if they're not going, then, we got a surplus of midfielders. Fred, McTominay, Matic. I think they're all decent at what they do at times, but we need that midfielder. And if we go into the season without it, I can give or take Kieran Trippier, because, you know, Aaron Wan-Bissaka can play every single week. You could keep Diogo Dalot. I know defensively there's question marks, but if you want that a little bit more attacking threat from the right at times, when you're playing with a back 3, you could play Diogo Dalot. Like, there's other options around there, but I think the options that we've got in that 6th position, if we want to play a 4-3-3, aren't the ones for every single, like, they aren't the ones. Fred, okay, maybe here, there, he'll give you a game. McTominay the same, Matic the same. But there's no one there that I'd want to see starting week in, week out behind Bruno and Pogba. No one at all. So what, we're going to go back to the 4-2-3-1? Not sure, but we need to react. But Jack Grealish, even at a British record transfer fee. What's your reaction to this news as Man United fans? If you're a United fan, which most of you are here, as a neutral, if you're a neutral, or as a Man City, like, what you are thinking about this sided. You can't knock Jack Grealish for taking it. I've seen him getting a little bit of criticism. I think that's crazy. You know, he's got a huge chance to win trophies, unfortunately, at Manchester City, and you can't knock him for taking that move now. Although, I hope he flops this shit. Anyway, let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Keep it like, comment, share, subscribe. I'm out of here.